How is it going today, guys? So when I live stream on Twitch, I get this question all of the time. What are some of the ways that I personally make money, or some of the best money makers in game that, any player could actually go and achieve at a certain point in game? I feel like a lot of players that started playing OSRS during the mobile hype about a year ago are finally high level. They're wondering how to make some serious gold. So I've constructed 10 of the best money makers in OSRS, and I've also, included a few extra little freebies at the end as well. Hopefully you guys do enjoy. Let's jump right into it. Before we get into the top 10 moneymakers, I would like to talk to you about the sponsor for this video. Now, unless you've been living under a rock or your mom disconnected your internet cable or something, you probably have seen this before.
Brought to you by Raid Shadow Legends.
Brought to you by Raid.
Yet again with raids.
Raid Shadow Legends.
Raid Shadow Legends is a free-to-play mobile game that is comparable to the biggest and best PC and console titles out right now. I've been playing it for a couple hours today, and honestly it feels like a full RPG game. They didn't really miss out on too many things. It has amazing graphics, giant boss fights, very epic. You can do PvP battles. You can choose from hundreds of champions to make your character, and you can collect and customize them as well. This game is pretty similar to OSRS in the fact that it's always getting updated. They have a really nice roadmap for the next 6 months of the future of the game, and it looks pretty bright for this game, to be fair. Currently leveling a Dark Elf as my main champion, and if you guys get in quick enough as well, you can join my clan, Seerz Village, and be able to play with me. Make sure you go to the video description and click on the links, and you'll get 50,000 silver and a free epic champion as part of the new players program to start your journey. The game also has a nearly perfect score of 5 stars with over 300,000 votes on the App Store. That's actually insane, man. Over 10 million players worldwide have already downloaded this game in less than 6 months. So it's clearly pretty good. And if you find yourself AFKing something on OSRS, maybe you're mining, maybe you're doing hunter, you're fletching, bank standing, definitely give the app a download and check it out. See what you guys think. Okay, so first off, I want you to comment down below right now, what is the #1 way that you have made GP so far in RuneScape? Also, I put a lot of effort into researching and calculating the GP per hour, and most of these are at, the max potentials and max gear and whatnot, so it is going to downscale, and there's lots of variables, depending on your skill level, the gear you have, the levels, your experience, and, your efficiency as a whole. Feel free to comment down below if you do have a different opinion about a boss or, the GP per hour, or just your favorite boss to kill. Alright, here we go. Number 10, starting with the worst moneymaker of the video. The Dagon Off Kings, or the DKs as many players call them, are located below Waterbirth Island off of the coast of Relica. You could kill Dagon Off Kings at a fairly low level, but I would highly recommend that you get the Fremenic Elite Diaries done, which is a little hard to get completed. You will need 77 rune crafting, which can be a pain, but if you do complete this diary, you're going to get noted Dagonoth bones. This will be about 20 to 40% more profit than if you just left the bones on the ground. I mean, they're 8 to 9k each. Most players go to Dagon Off Kings for the Berserker Ring, the Archer Ring, the Seerz, and the Warrior, plus some Dragon Axes and the Pet Drop, but the rings are 1 out of 128. If you're killing all 3 of them, they're extremely common, and every single trip you're bound to see at least one. Not to mention the Dagonoth King pets are some of the coolest. I personally have the Dagonoth Rex and the Dagonoth Supreme. With everything said and done, the Dagonoth Kings are roughly 2.3 mil per hour, but again, the rings could drop down or even go up in price, making this even more or worse of a money-making method. Coming in at number 9, the Chambers of Xeric, aka Raids 1. When it comes to gear, I have seen players complete raids with 500k, 1 mil, 5 mil worth of gear, but if you're going to get into a serious group of friends or a team, they'll definitely want you to have some pretty damn good gear, which could range all the way up to 500 mil, if not even more if you do have a twisted bow, which is the best way to kill Olm, the dragon boss at the end. Raids are pretty cool in the fact that you could go with a group of 5, or you could go with a group of 50, or you could also solo the whole entire raid just by yourself. The whole rewarding system is all based on points. It's roughly 75k GP per 1000 points. And of course, Raids 1 has the drop of the infamous Twisted Bow, which is still currently the most expensive item in the entire game. You can also get the Ancestral Robes, Dragon Claws, Dragon Hunter Crossbow. There's quite a bit of items from this raid, but the most common thing are the Prayer Scrolls. The Dex Prayer Scroll is the one for range. It's still about 60 mil GP, and the Arcane Scroll is for magic, but it is a little bit cheaper. It's 5 mil, and they are the most common drops. Chambers of Xeric is about 2.8 mil GP per hour. Moving on to number 8, the Money Snake, Zulrah. Zulrah was one of the first bosses in game with a ridiculous GP per hour, so much they've nerfed it many times since, but it still is pretty damn good. In order to kill this boss, you will have to complete the quest Regicide. Zulrah has 4 different starting phases, which hence why people think this boss is so hard. In order to kill it properly, you're actually going to have to memorize each one of those phases, and once one of the phases is over, Zulrah will start another phase from the beginning. Most players that kill Zulrah have a full magic setup and a full range setup within their inventory. You'd want to use range on the blue form and use magic on the green and the red form. Most high level players just actually use a twisted bow now with full range, nothing else, and it is actually a faster way to kill Zulrah, plus it's cheaper in supplies, but then again, most people don't have a twisted bow, so you may be out of luck. Killing Zulrah can be about 2.9 mil GP per hour. Coming at number 7, this was a very hard pick for me, the Corrupted Gauntlet. Killing the Gauntlet does require the Song of the Elves quest just to get inside the Elf City, which is a new quest that just came out. Highly suggest that you do it. The city is amazing, pretty fun quest. I do think you guys would enjoy it. Probably the best thing about slaying the Gauntlet is you need 0 gear or supplies. You can literally show up naked. I mean, this is amazing, especially if you get cleaned, you get hacked, whatever it may be. You need almost nothing, so any drop you get is pure profit. Killing the Gauntlet is extremely challenging to learn, probably one of the most challenging on this whole list, and you would want to do the regular Gauntlet before you try the Corrupted, but once you have it down, it can be very addictive, and you know, it's instants, it's randomly generated rooms. It's kind of like dungeoneering from back in the day. This is one of the funnest things to do in OSRS, hands down. You can get the new Blade of Salador from this boss, which is still over 100 mil, and you also get shards. You can make divine potions and make a lot of GP doing that, or even use the shards on the crystal chest, which I will mention later on as well. If you do perfect kills and you rarely die, killing the Gauntlet is going to be about 2.9 mil per hour. Coming in at number 6, the demonic Guerrillas. In order to kill these Guerrillas, you will have to complete Monkey Madness 2. Now these are pretty similar to the Dagon Off Kings. As mentioned before, a Slayer task is not required, but highly recommended as this is a hybrid boss. If you didn't yet know, you can actually get a Black Demon task and then go kill the demonic Guerrillas, and they will count as a Black Demon. Of course, you would want to have the best gear while killing anything in the game, but this monster, you really only need like level 80 stats and some barrels gear. I would highly recommend getting an Arc Light. Definitely the best weapon to use against demonic creatures in the game. While killing these, you can get magic seeds, a whole bunch of rune items, and some other good drops, but Zenite shards make up the bulk of the profit as they are pretty common. So with that being said, demonic Guerrillas are about 3.1 mil per hour. Number 5, Alchemical Hydra. This is one of the newer bosses to old school RuneScape, and it's amazing GP, but it does require 95 Slayer and can be only killed on a Hydra Slayer task assigned by Konar, similar to some of the other Slayer bosses such as Cerberus and Kraken, but of course this boss can only be obtained via Konar. The best way to kill this boss is with a twisted bow, but a twisted bow is about 1 billion GP, so I would assume many people watching this probably don't have that, and you could just use a blowpipe. If you are an endgame Iron Man, this is definitely a boss you want to make a stop at. It has 2 of the best in slot items, one of those being a Hydra Claw, which you would add to the Zamorak and Hasta to turn it into a Dragon Hunter Lance, the melee version of the Dragon Hunter crossbow. The boss also has a rare drop of a Hydra Leather, which you would then take the leather to the Lithcrin Vault, which requires Dragon Slayer 2. That is the place that you kill rune dragons at. Use it on the machinery, and you would turn it into the Ferocious Gloves, which are the best gloves in slot at 14 strength. The leather is tradable, but the gloves are untradeable. Killing the Hydra can be up to 3.2 mil GP per hour. I personally actually killed 500 of them and made a video of it. I got 2 Hydra Claws that were like 85 mil GP within the 500 kills. Up next at number 4, the Zalcano. This is actually the newest boss to come to OSRS, but it does require the Song of the Elves quest, and you actually need to do the quest just to get into the city in general. If you don't know, Zalkano is a skilling boss. You use mining, smithing, and rune crafting to take down the boss. If you want to make some serious GP, I would definitely recommend 90 to 95 to even 99 mining, and definitely try and buy yourself a crystal pickaxe. A dragon pickaxe works just fine, and you'll still, manage to get quite a bit of GP per hour, but using a crystal pickaxe is going to give you, the top tier slot of any people in the room, especially that don't have the crystal pickaxe, and you'll receive a lot more MVP kills, which is going to increase your GP per hour significantly. Similar to slaying the Gauntlet found within the city as well, and doing, miscellaneous activities throughout the city, you can get crystal shards and turn them into divine potions, or you could also take the shards and use them on crystal keys to open the new enhanced crystal chest. I did upload a video of that, check it out, very interesting. You can make a lot of GP, plus even get shards back from the chest, or even get the new Dragonstone armor within the chest, which is like 5 mil GP per piece. Hands down, Zalcano is the best way for Iron Men to get supplies for smithing. The whole boss literally drops gems, ore, and bars, nothing else really. So I would highly recommend you go there if you do have an Iron Man. If you are looking for the unofficial worlds, World 378 for US and World 375 for Europe. After researching my ass off, Zalcano is 3.2 mil an hour, which seems a little bit high, but it really is. Even after the updates, I've talked to quite a bit of professional PVMers and searched around on Reddit and many other, other sites and blogs, and it is about 3 mil an hour. Coming in at number 3, Kree Era, the Armadale God Wars Dungeon boss. From my perspective, when I go to this boss, I see a lot of players either killing it solo or killing it with a buddy, but they use a crossbow and they just kind of stand back, how we used to do back in the old days, but now there's a much more efficient way to actually take down this boss. You would want to be using Black Chins and Blood Barrage, highly recommended, especially if soloing or even a duo, although it will increase your, supply costs quite significantly. Your GP per hour and the kills per hour is going to go up tremendously. If you don't know, Black Chins have an AoE, which is area of effect. That means they can hit multiple creatures at one time. So the reason for the Black Chins is that you would get a minion next to the boss and you would throw chins at the minion, which the chin is then accounting for just the defense of the minion, which is much lower than the boss. So you're going to be hitting like massive numbers on the boss. It is the quickest way to take it down, a bit costly, but much faster, which means more item drops, more pet chances per hour. Taking it back about 4 years ago when God Wars Dungeon came out, I was one of the first players in the game to get an Arma Hilt, which I sold for 135 mil. That is not the case anymore. The AGS is about 14 million GP, but good news, the Armadale chest and the chain skirt are worth a lot more, about 35 mil each. Most of your profit is definitely going to come from the chain skirt and the chest, and you could even, keep killing the minions. If you were to kill enough bosses, you would have the chance at the 1 out of 16,000 drop rate from getting an item piece off a minion, and this goes for any type of God Wars Dungeon boss as well. I feel like the majority of high level players mainly still PVM, which is why the armor chest and the skirt are worth so much, and less players actually go in PK. Plus the AGS is a great spec weapon, but there's Dragon Claws, there's G-Mauls and Ballistas and other weapons that you don't need the AGS. Plus the AGS is like the worst god sword to use PVM wise, so that's why the armor is worth more and the AGS is worth a lot less. Killing Kree Era comes out to about 3.4 mil GP per hour. Coming in at number 2, the most camp boss in old school RuneScape at this very moment, vorkath. Now vorkath is amazing gold, but it is locked behind the Dragon Slayer 2 quest, which is definitely pretty hard. You probably won't be doing this quest if you're, below 100 combat. Using a Dragon Hunter crossbow or a Dragon Hunter lance is greatly going to increase your kills per hour. Using these weapons is about 30% more accuracy and 30% more damage towards dragons. Each kill takes roughly 2 minutes, but it drops 2 superior dragon bones at one time, both valued at about 12k GP, so that's 25k roughly in one kill just as a base drop. While killing this boss, you're probably going to come across the poison phase. This is something that's pretty brutal. You have to keep moving or you're going to get freaking KO'd so quick. The poison balls hit about 30 every single tick, and of course you guys know about Wooks. He has came up with the Wooks walk, which is where you dodge the balls back and forth. You're going off tick and moving every second. It's very extreme. Even when I try and do it, I still die. But if you do master that, it is going to increase your GP and profit and kills per hour like tremendously. You can kill probably 5 more an hour while doing this. Vorkath has been compared to Zulrah many times as, its similarities as being a solo boss, but I would say many players, especially the higher level ones, definitely say that Vorkath is easier and it's more gold. So if you've already, had Zulrah under your belt, I would definitely move towards this boss. Vorkath is going to come out to about 3.6 mil per hour. Okay, before we get into the best GP per hour in the entire game, I want to give a handful of honorable mentions and you just breeze through them real quick of, a couple money makers that didn't actually make the cut of this video. The first mention has to be Corp Beast with a team or doing it FFA, which means free for all. You can find a clan chat called Corp Space FFA. I use that quite a bit. I've actually gotten like 3,000 kills with that clan chat. The GP per hour ranges between 1.5 mil and easily over 4 mil GP, and it is greatly dependent on your RNG. You could get like 3 sigils within 200 KC. I've seen a guy get an Elysian on his 7th kill, which is insane. Up next would be the infamous Revenants in the Wilderness. This could be one of the best moneymakers in the entire game, but you need to have a lot of skill. You could even kill them -30 Wilderness, so you could tele instantly if you see anyone. You might even want to have 85 agility with the summer pie as well, and then you could hop across the agility shortcut down south and never die. There's many ways of doing this efficiently, but most players don't go here just because it's the wilderness. There's lots of skull tricks. It's highly contested. There's so many people, coming in and out, clans, teams, so definitely watch out. It's not for everyone. Next up would be merchanting, either flipping or investing. Many players don't like this. They don't really know about it. They don't like it, man. I've posted a lot of videos about merchanting, but it's one of the best GP in the entire game. 100%. I've made billions of gold doing this while sleeping. Most of the time I'm doing something else in game. I'm actually killing bosses. I'm doing a farm run while I'm making money in the background. The next honorable mention would be wrist fighting, and again, not for everyone. You need a lot of PK skills. I mean, I've been PKing for a long time and I still get trashed on sometimes. People are so damn good, but you could definitely do like a 500 mil versus 500 mil wrist fight, and if you're good at this, you could make an insane amount of gold. Next up would be joining a barbarian assault team or a runecraft running team. They are pretty hard to find. You might want to look around on Twitter, on Reddit, maybe some forums. Watch out, don't get scammed. But this is amazing. You just literally run essence for people that are trying to power out 99 runecrafting. You will need 75 runecrafting for the large pouch, but I've seen people pay anywhere from 2 to 6 mil per hour per runner. It's extremely expensive, which means if you're the runner, you can make quite a bit of GP. The last honorable mention would be buying battle staffs with either the elite or the hard Varrock diaries. If you think about it, this takes 10 seconds to teleport to Varrock and go to the staff shop. You profit 148k each time, leading to 54 million GP per hour. And of course, it's not consistent. You can only do it once a day. But I mean, if you do this every day for 2 years, you're gonna rake in some serious cash just like that. Alright, here it is. Many of you guys probably guessed it, the Theater of Blood coming in at number 1. You would definitely need to find a group of friends to teach you Theater of Blood, or you could spend, a few hours watching YouTube videos, looking up guides, and I guarantee you'll probably learn how to do it. You can have up to 5 players on your team total, but it's usually regarded that a 4-man is the most efficient. If you or any of your team members die during the raid, your GP per hour will be lowered quite a bit. In order to actually complete the Theater of Blood, aka Raids 2, you're going to need a lot of very expensive gear. I would say at least 500 million GP minimum. You're also going to need some very trusted, intelligent teammates. You guys would definitely want to be on Discord or TeamSpeak, just to have the communication top notch. Of course, the infamous Scythe is the best item you can get from Raids 2. And it used to be about like 4 billion GP, then down to 2 bill, then down to 1.3 to 1.4 bill. It was very stable for a couple months, but the last month it has just been crashing. It's at like 900 mil. Another common drop is the Avernic Defender, which is an upgraded Dragon Defender basically. It's the highest tier, and it's still worth over 70 mil. It's very stable, so it's another good drop, and it is the most common drop that you will see within the Theater of Blood. Again, the GP per hour has so many variables, how many times you die, how efficient you are, how good your teammates are, your RNG, the drop rates, all these type of things. But with everything said and done, it's about 6.4 mil GP per hour. The top 10 best leading moneymakers in old school RuneScape, there it was. If you do have some free time on your hands, feel free to go check out the Twitch as well. I'll be live streaming almost every day. Care to ask any questions, maybe see how I'm actually making most of my gold while I play the game. And you guys can also send me a message on Twitter or Instagram at Seerz Live. I do hope this video added some value and you're inspired to keep training, keep grinding away those levels to go kill some bosses, make a ton of gold in RuneScape. Hopefully you guys have a great day. Don't forget to throw a thumbs up and subscribe if you guys are new. Peace out.